Namaste. Welcome to Dawkins Enterprise. This is Sister Sharice. And first, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to stop by and see what I'm talking about today. Shalom. I'm ever so grateful for the Most High, for my ancestors, the angels, all of my protection. My spirit team, who always says the right thing at the right time to help guide me in the direction of my destiny. Welcome in tonight. We have been talking about all type of relationships and everything. But before we get back into that, first let me say, I desire to always remain in my highest vibration. You know, we have to stop allowing other people to take us out of our normal self, out of the way that we would normally behave. Why would we let what someone else is doing allow us to behave differently than we would normally behave? We need to not allow people to push our buttons or puppeteer us, so to speak. You know, if I do this, they'll do this. No. Do what you would do normally. Don't allow others to project onto you their behaviors, because that's what they're doing. You know, if you ever want to see what somebody else is doing, watch what they accusing you of. You know, word for the wise. So I kind of wanted to talk about karma, and I won't be too long before you tonight. You know, karma, you know, and I'm saying you know a lot, but it's important that we know things. We've been working in a belief system, you know, and it's important that we go beyond thinking that something might be true, believing that it could be possible, or versus knowing that something is what it is. You hear me? So let's be mindful of that, because karma has no address, has no favoritisms, any of that. It's important to recognize, you know, when you are receiving karma from some things or activities that you have been involved in, or is this karma you're receiving because of an attachment to someone else that you have. You know, there is shared karma. You know, it's important to recognize where things are coming from. Excuse me. You know, when karma comes a calling, you can't run, you can't hide. And we've all experienced it, because this life that we live is about making mistakes, you know. But whatever we put out is what we're going to get back, regardless to whatever happens, you know, or why we did it. There's a scripture in the Bible that speaks on when you're doing something wrong, ye that does something incorrectly and knows what they're doing will get many stripes. But those that do it unknowingly, they still get some stripes though, but not the many. You understand? Because whatever we do, whatever we put out, that's what we gonna get back. One of the universal laws of attraction. You only gonna attract what you are. You only gonna receive that what you put out, that what you are speaking on. But like I say, everybody's been faced with karma. And I remember some terrible times that I've experienced. And I had to look at that thing like, ooh, where is this coming from? What did I did? Is it something I did, or is it somebody I'm attached to? You know, and karma will make you face. You know, normally when it happens, for me anyway, normally if karma shows up, when it shows up, I know exactly why. You understand? So, when you don't know where this is coming from, that might be an indication that it's from shared karma. You know, be careful. Now, karma would be so bad that I move like this now. This way, Lord, you say to the right, to the left. It's like that. And it ain't like that I'm scared. It's that I understand what it means to come outside of the umbrella of protection. You know? If I willingly involve myself in some foolishness, how am I going to be protected from that? You know, make it make sense. So what I did, because I don't want no karma. I don't want to do wrong. But you know, when you don't want to do wrong, you end up doing wrong. When you're trying to do wrong, you do right. When you're trying to do right, you do wrong. It's like that. So, what I try to do, and not try, that's not a word that I want to include in my vocabulary, but number one, avoid temptations. You know you're going to be tempted to do something outside of the boundaries that you've already set. Don't go. Avoid it. You don't have to go. Every day you're going to keep coming. Regardless. You're not going to miss nothing. Normally, when I have removed myself from a situation and I go back to, let's say, like a club, like a little bar or something that I might have in my younger years when I first stopped going out to clubs and stuff. I used to go to this club, teacher place, it was known for years and years, reputation of, teachers and professionals, stopping by, happy hour, whatever. I stopped going there, and then one day I visited again, and look, I ain't missed a beat. The same people sitting in the same chairs. They might not have the same outfits on, but they doing the same stuff. And it was like, what am I doing? I could be using this time doing something else. Then there are the fallen lights. Number 2, Lucifer is our brother, God's child as well. And it's people that just like that. They feel like that's their sole mission, so to speak. I bet you I can do this. I bet you I can get her to do this. I remember somebody said something to me one day. I stopped eating pork in 1988. It all started when I was in Egypt, and you know, they did not serve pork in a lot of places because it is a Muslim country and they don't eat pork. Or they, you know, a lot of Muslims nowadays, they eat pork and do stuff that Muslims don't do. So I can't really say what Muslims don't do from what I've seen. You know, Muslims, and not hating on anybody else, Christians, Jewish, Amish. I was so out of my mind when I was like thinking, I don't know why I think that because people have a title, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, whatever, you know, they mean they read the book, they mean they follow the book. It's what I think in my mind. That's why I don't do the title thing. You know, get to know me as an individual. You know, if you end up listening to the wrong people, they carry you down the wrong trail. You understand? It's a lot of haters out here. But anyway, these people that I thought they book or whatever they say don't eat pork, they be eating pork. And I ain't mad at nobody. Do it if you want to. But to me, I thought that if you, I mean, that's like, anyway, everybody do their own thing, you know. It just behooves me. But anyway, there are misguided ones that have regrets for the decisions that they have made, for the choices that they know that they chose. And then they come across you and you haven't made those choices. And so since they were misguided, tricked, bamboozled, a lot of us have been, don't get me wrong, but a lot of people, or some people, that got tricked into doing things that lowered their vibration, you know. See, whatever we do, that's what will keep us in a high vibration or a lower vibration. That's why one of the things I always say here is I remain in my highest vibration at all times. It means I'm trying to stay away from low vibrational things because I know that'll lower my vibration, and then I can't connect with the Most High. And that's not an option for me anyway. To each their own, you know. But there are fallen lights out here. Fallen lights that have stumbled down a path that they did not know what it entailed. And therefore, they try to trick you into the cesspool that they find themselves in. So be careful to stay away from the fallen light. So use your discernment. You know, somebody constantly trying to talk you into things that are not along with your way, your authenticity, your choices. And start to look at that person with a little side eye. Look suspicious over there. What you trying to set me up for? Failure? I think not. So boundaries are very important. Then, most importantly, I began to just go within and just take inventory. And I systematically began to purge from the toxicities of life, the toxicities that I was connected to, you know, because the toxic stuff that we hold on to will prevent us from receiving divine revelations or we will receive it, and because of the toxicity that we're involved in, it will distort the revelations that are sent to us. And I hear a lot of people all the time that, you know, what we have to be careful of is, especially when we are being given divine revelation for others, quit putting your own spin on everything. You know, I hear a lot of people say, oh, well, that's probably because of such and such and so and so, or because now it's a difference if Spirit is giving you a revelation or recalling something that you've experienced to be able to explain something the Spirit is trying to get somebody else to understand. That's different than saying what Spirit say and then say, oh, that's probably because, maybe because they had to pay this, or they got to pay child support, or they got to pay this, you know. That's when we add in salt and pepper when it shouldn't be nothing like that added. For no salt. You know, like if somebody order no salt, but here we go. Excuse me. Here we go, putting in salt to an order that has no salt. I hate when people just call you and keep calling you right back, right back, right back. I'm trying to have a video with you all. But I'm almost finished though. I always keep hearing, who is she talking to? This message is for those who are destined to ascension. Things that I have experienced on my journey of ascension that have helped me. I'm going to keep sharing it. Whatever Spirit tells me to share, that's what I'll do. And I appreciate everyone who has stopped by. I'm so grateful for a multitude of things. I'm grateful for my subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit the like button before you leave. You have been here with Sister Sharice on my YouTube channel, Darkest Enterprise. And as I always say, my mother always said, Sharice, everyone has their own agenda. And my father always said, everything that's supposed to happen, happens. Ashe.